Del Rio, Texas. Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive recorded live Saturday, 29 June 2013. Episode 72. 106 in the shade and there ain't no shade. And here we are once again with another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive. I am your venerable host, Rob Wade, and I'm here with
Robert Garza.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. Back from my exile tour.
Your exile tour. Man, talk about a scorcher.
Yep. Tell me about it.
It's amazing out there. And pulling off a dive class, no less, in the midst of all that.
How many students you got?
Just got one on this one, and I'm thankful it's just the one. Oh, my gosh. And thankfully, also, my student is actually an experienced diver.
Cool.
He kind of got into it the same way I did. You know, diving with friends and family who have gear and kind of just like, oh, here's the ropes. And so he decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and
make it official.
Do it for real, get the certification and all that good stuff. So having a good time with him there. So it's a pretty easy class. As far as student goes, the challenge is where in the world to actually dive. Now, for experienced divers, it's not so bad because we can go. There's places we can go that if you're an experienced diver, you just get in there and enjoy it. But for a class, you need a little bit more stable, shallower area. You know, going off to dive off a cliff wall
wouldn't be confined.
Not a good idea for students. But although they might find it, particularly thrilling. But we tried to go Scuba Cove and. It's a mess. In fact, I have some pictures to show. It's depressing.
Wow.
That is the small boat.
That's a small boat.
It is out of the water. I mean, it's just amazing how horrible the lake looks.
Man.
That is the long trek.
Oh, my gosh. Golly.
Yeah. You see where the dive chest is? In this picture, the dive chest actually looks closer to the rail and the walkway than it does and that's pretty close to halfway right there.
The chest, to remind everybody, was at 30 feet of water.
Yeah. Crazy.
God, that looks horrible.
And then there's my student was saying, okay, so where's the cliffs that everybody talks about? Because of course, obviously, Air Force people are not allowed to do anything around the cliffs. I said, you see up there where it's nice and green, and then you see this like a pretty obvious line of rock, and it becomes smooth as it slants down. I said that's where the water normally is.
Mm-hmm.
And I said the cliffs where people would jump off of those upper ledges there. I told him, I said, now you see why it's stupid for people to jump off the cliffs there, because it isn't a sheer straight drop down. There are ledges and areas where you can crack your head open. Unbelievable. Now, when we pull down, I should have taken a picture of it. See these people that are hanging out on the edge here, a little bit further, just outside the buoys marking the cove, was a big pontoon boat with their stereo going and everything. I'm like, you better stay outside the cove. Now, as it turns out, we ended up not going there. It was just going to be too crazy trying to drag gear. So we actually went to Governor's Landing and checked that out, and it wasn't tremendously better. As a matter of fact, there's a gate, a pole gate, to the right of the parking lot that normally is closed. Well, it's open because you can drive.
You can drive down?
You can drive all the way down several pylons out.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, I should try to find a picture of, matter of fact, the lake levels from the last the last time I lamented how horrible this all looks. Let's see, where do I have those stored? I think they're here. It was
just the mere fact that the boats are out of water. I mean, that just
I didn't even bother to crawl over that little mound there to see if the big boat's visible at this point. It still shouldn't be, but it's probably an extremely shallow dive right about now. Let's see. I thought I did one newer than this.
Now would be a good time to go down there and bury like a statue or something.
Yeah, no kidding. It'd be easy to do.
Right, and then when the water levels, hopefully, God willing, go back up, it'll be a nice dive at about 100 feet.
Right? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to find some... oh, here we go. Switch to extra large icons. To give folks an idea. Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. This was, I'm going to put this up here. Copy. Wish I had an even better shot of that. That'll work. We'll use that one. Sorry, folks, for the delay. We're trying to make magic happen here. Hopefully you're actually watching the show. We can't tell because it looks like Ustream isn't showing that it's on the air, even though, according to the software, it is on the air. It's encoding copious amounts of bytes. All right, let's see. Let's drop this in here. No. Oh, there we go. Paste it here. Yes. All right, let me bring this into the slideshow. Insert an image. Way too many pictures. I had a ton of pictures still. There it is. Still left over. Insert and okay. This was... You see some people down there. This is what it looked like last August. Now, imagine, and you still could not drive down here. You had to walk. This is 2 pylons out approaching the 3rd. Now you can actually drive a car, or a truck actually, all the way out to the 4th pillar that you see there.
Wow.
Yeah. We actually, and you see there's this nice big open cove here. Well, now there's just a finger of this water, as you see behind the pylons where it rises up for the railroad bridge. The water is so low now that cove is more like a finger cove. So it's much narrower than what you see there. I mean, there are people that literally drove way down to the 4th pillar. They brought, big canopies. I mean, it's just party central down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. And all of this you see in the foreground, that drops, actually, all of this is a pretty good drop down. It's pretty deep. As far as being, it's exposed. There's no water there. There's still water way down closer as you get closer to the 3rd pillar, but as you stand on the little gravelly, rocky edge there, and look down now, you're looking down at the water. I mean, you're looking. It's not
like is it like a drop?
It's a little bit of a drop. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we actually came out here. We drove trucks down to the 2nd pylon, support pylon, and because there was good shade there, and then oh, know what? I'm mistaken. It's out to the 5th pylon, you see, because we parked where you see the jet ski in the background. We were parked there because I remember we were looking up, and I'd never noticed that they had painted the metal.
Oh,
there,
the blue,
that hideous blue.
Yeah.
I happened to be looking because we were doing the dive logs on the tailgate of the student's truck, and I was looking up. I was like, did they paint those? I hadn't even really noticed before.
I'd never even noticed them painted.
But it becomes very obvious because you can see all the overspray from underneath. It's horrible. I was like, well, that's local labor for you. But yeah, so we were parked. So where those people are standing, that we parked back where that jet ski is sitting on the water. That's well above the water right now. And so we walked further down towards that finger cove there, which it's not a finger in this picture, but it is now, to actually do the class. And visibility was absolutely horrible. Literally 1 or 2 feet.
Shame.
And most of that was only about, and I'm going to have a challenge for tomorrow, because to do the controlled emergency swimming ascent, you have to have a minimum, it's got to be 20 to 30 feet. So a minimum for me to do it and it count with this student is 20 feet. Now, after we swam around for a little bit on dive 2 with the student, we did find a couple of spots out closer to the 5th pylon that were 25 feet. But it's all moon surface, and it's moon surface up to your elbow. Because now, obviously, the that area is not protected like Scuba Cove. So I had to run out our dive buoy and dive flag.
Right.
And so I got a 15-pound weight, anchor weight type deal, and attached that to it. Well, I let that thing go where I could mark off the area, and it disappeared
into the mud.
It disappeared, man. It hit there, and you see this big plume of mushroom cloud, and it disappeared.
Well, when it was like when we were doing our advanced there at the at Scuba Cove,
right?
When we were at 100 feet, my arm went into the mud up to like my shoulder.
Oh,
almost, and I was just like, it kind of got stuck. I remember I was trying to pull it out, and it was like suction or like, but I can only imagine there. That's horrible. Is there going to be any relief for the lake anytime soon that we know of? Or
well, here's the funny thing. I was when we were at Balmarais with Jeff Larson. He remarked that the lake was actually, because of the rain, the lake was actually up 8 inches. I'm like, up 8 inches? I'm like, to where? I was thinking, okay, it's up 8 inches, so instead of the small boat being just at the edge of the water, it was going to be actually slightly underwater. But no, that is not the case, as you can see. So I'm like, if it's 8 inches up, if it's 8 inches up from, I got to put that picture up because, again, it was just depressing. If it was 8 inches up from where it was, then the boat there was no part of the boat underwater there.
Nope.
Here, with where it sits now, the bow of it is just a little bit dipped into the water. But that's just crazy. Totally depressing. But yeah, so we're sitting out there. I was in a 3 mil shorty. The student was in a 3 mil full, and Troy was out there in a 5 mil full, and Nick was out there it was either a 3 or a 5 mil full. Of course, he's on limited budget, and you always got to make decisions, frugal decisions based on what you can afford. And so, he when he was looking at wetsuits, he was like, well, if I've only got X amount of money, I want to get a suit that I'm going to use, and I just think the shorties look funny.
Okay, who are we talking about?
We're talking about Nick.
Oh, okay, Nick. Okay.
So he only got the full because he thought the shorties look goofy. And they do, I guess, to some extent, depending on your point of view. I think they look fine. But today he was like, I'm seriously rethinking that opinion.
I mean, I saw one on clearance.
Yeah.
Where was it? Saw one in clearance at and it was a body glove. Saw it on clearance. I want to say it was at an academy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was on sale for $10.
Really?
Yeah. It was a 3 mil. Actually, it was a 2.5 mil.
Yeah.
Because they use them for jet skiing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But still, it's a body glove and it's a 2.5. It's almost 3 mil. Shorty for $10. I mean,
nice.
You can't beat that. Honestly.
Really.
And for me personally, I enjoy the summertime because, of course, it's hot. But we don't have to don our full suits.
Yeah.
You just put the shorty on. It's in and off real easy, real quick.
Absolutely.
It's for me, it's less restricting. But of course, in the winter time, there's nothing. Or if you're going to go deep,
right?
There's nothing like a full because the climb does tend to bother.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Well, and even today, water temp. This is what kind of started the whole temperature discussion. We were. We're doing the logs after the first dive, and students like to put a lot more detail on their early dives. Eventually, they get like, I don't care what temperature it was.
Just put the weights,
exactly.
the location.
What pressure group was I? Did I get to? But we were talking about the temperature, and then of course the computers tell you. I said, well, at the surface it was 78.
It's nice.
And down at depth it was 78. It was so shallow we couldn't get to a thermal. Well, although you did feel a little bit of one, but and you were thankful for it, especially the guys that were in the full wetsuits. Yeah. But oh man, I was glad I was in the shorty. I really was.
We've been places too where I feel the cold in my legs. You feel the water kind of squeezing.
Yeah. Right.
But it goes away pretty quick. It's not like it's like cold that long.
No, as a matter of fact, when we got into the lake, it felt exactly the same as the pool.
Oh, okay.
Which was really comfortable. And of course, it made it easier for the student to do his swim and his float because you normally have to do that without benefit of wetsuit. So, piece of cake for him. So no big deal. But it was very comfortable. I couldn't see. I would be sweltering if I was in the 5 mil full. Now going out to 454, definitely glad for the full mil. The full 5 mil wetsuit there, because it is. We were going deeper. Yeah, and you do feel the thermal at about 50 feet.
Oh no! I'll be the first one to say, cover up, especially if you're going to go deep. Right. When we did the first time we actually attempted the abyss because we stumbled on it by accident during the nighttime. We did a day dive. It was right at noon. Remember? Right. It was 100 and something outside, and we went in with our 5 mil. And I thought, okay, we're gonna go a little extreme. Oh my gosh, it was so nice to have it. Even though we were dying when we got out because it was so hot, but in the water, you were lucky. You were glad to have that thing.
Absolutely right. So, what's your week been like?
Busy. Actually, I went to Houston for a conference, and was okay. But I was actually I was expecting to have a little more downtime.
You were expecting?
I was expecting to have some downtime. I've been to a couple of these things. Won't be too bad. I'll have some time to relax in the room. Watch TV or what. No, these things were just like endless, and they were like so exhausting that when I got back to the room, it's like I would fall asleep.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's just so tired. I guess and the cool thing is where I was staying, it was actually connected to a mall. There was a crosswalk on the 3rd floor of the hotel. Oh, okay. So I would actually cross over to the mall that was across the street, and it was nice. That's where I spend most of my time in the food court. I was actually trying to...
Now, wait a minute. You who are on the dive and the bike riding kick, and you actually lowered yourself
I broke down.
You gave in to the urge. I'm so disappointed in you, Bob.
Yeah, those sodas were they were tasty over there.
I'll bet.
Mm-hmm.
So what other delights did you taste there that you had to share? It's like, if you ever get a chance, one of those deals. If you ever get to this mall, you got to try out whatever.
Well, I stayed at the typical, typical mall food court. They had Taco Bell, the Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, pizza places, Oriental places. One thing that I did do is I made it a point because I wanted to eat some actual good seafood. So I went to Papa Do's.
I love that place.
Yeah, I just had to go, and man, it was like, I think I overdid it because my stomach was cramping when I got back to the motel room because I had overeaten too much. An overabundance of food is not good for you.
Wow. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
But no, it was good. Very insightful training went to, so it was actually pretty good.
Awesome.
Pretty good.
Awesome.
The only thing that was horrible that I have to complain to the text dot is you need to make the road between here and Houston a 4-lane road. Because there's only 2 lanes.
Yeah.
Okay, and traffic is just horrible with the trucks because they don't move. One starts trying to pass the other because they're on the right hand lane, behind each other because they're the slower traffic.
Right.
And when they're passing each other, it's like they're moving in slow motion.
Oh, and you're like, come on, somebody make a decision.
So it takes about 5 miles before one truck passes the other one.
Hate that.
And it just slows everything down.
It's like, people, do you realize the traffic that you're blocking here? Come on.
And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I've been just dealing with work.
Yep. Yeah, of course, we're coming down to the home stretch to the furloughs to start. So
when is that starting up for?
The week of the 8th. Ooh. Yeah. So, a lot of us are just planning, okay, what are we going to do with that extra day of the week on the weekend? Tara's got hers. Each organization gets to choose where they're where they're doing their days. Some have to stay on. Some have to stay on all every day anyway. So they're just rotating their employees through. So okay, guess what? Yours is Monday, yours is Tuesday, yours is Wednesday, kind of thing.
Okay.
And so where Tara works, it's her day off is Monday.
Oh,
whereas
okay.
in my organization, everybody is Friday.
Oh, okay.
There's logistical reasons why that makes sense, but and I'm not complaining because that just that's typically when I'd want to do a number of things anyway for a long weekend. So that's
so you get it at the beginning, and then she gets it at the end.
Yeah, so. Yep. So obviously that's a big chunk of our pay, and we're prepared for it. On the upside, right as that starts, we go on our Grand Cayman vacation, so it's already paid for. So
yeah,
it's not impacting us there. One challenge though is that. When you're on furlough, you can't, I guess, get that day back by applying your annual leave to it. It's a day that you are not getting paid, period, because that's the whole point of the sequester.
Right.
So, and it just so happens that since that was that's a furlough, or at least the Friday is the Monday for her and the Friday for me. So each of us now are using one day less of our leave for our vacation because it's counted as a furlough day. So we can't apply leave to it. So instead of 5 work days that we're taking off, we're each taking only 4.
Right, but you don't get paid for it though.
No, we don't get paid for it. But that also means for those of us who actually acquire use or lose leave, because I just don't go on leave, these vacations are it. For me, I'll take a day here and there. When we go to Balmorhea, I'll take a Friday. But, and just like it was when I was in the military, I always had use or lose leave. I just never went anywhere. And so now that means where I sort of had planned out how I was going to eat up that use or lose leave without creating a huge rush at the end of the year, which is always a mess. I kind of had it where it makes sense. Well, now that's out the window because that now kills basically 2 days out of every pay period that I could have or I did have some of that plugged in as leave.
Well, it's kind of like us there at the school. The guys right now are currently taking all leave. We're running pretty much with a skeleton crew.
Right.
And granted, this is the time to do it because there's no school, no students really around, so we don't need an abundance of extra help.
Right.
But the guys they save up all of their leave for this time of the month.
Right.
Or at the end of the next month. So if they play their cards right, we're all off from the last week of July until the first week of before school starts. So roughly you have about 3 weeks off that I'm going to have come July, the last week of July. Well, these guys, what they'll do is they have up to about 4 weeks of leave accumulated.
Yeah. So they wait.
So what they do is they wait, and they'll take their leave around the end of June. So they'll be off all of the month of July and then pretty much all of the month of August. But the thing is, it's kind of like it's supposed to be done like a lottery to where, okay, the first come, first serve type thing. But it's not done that way, so it's always been the favorites get those days.
Man, come on.
So some of us kind of like, I already, when they started telling me that, I was like, what's the point of me rushing to put my leave in when I know I'm not going to get it?
Right.
The ones who have been there, 50 years are the ones that are going to get it.
Yeah.
So I just take my time whenever I can.
That's a mess.
I do know that come at the end of the July, I'm going to be off for 3 weeks. So not complaining, although it would be nice to get it all straight.
Yeah, no kidding.
But that's what they're doing right now. Is they're all fighting for, okay, well, I put in my day this, a week and a half ago, or I put mine 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Type fighting.
Was it kung fu fighting?
It was. I think one of them was actually Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Kung Fu Panda.
Wow.
But yeah, and then it's just I don't know, here lately it's like I feel as though like time's been dragging.
Time keeps on slipping.
Exactly. Into the future.
Okay, so that's for those who are like, what in the heck is that? That's a little Steve Miller Band for you. Steve who?
Steve who?
They like Limp Bizkit? No.
Not to mention, Trish is gonna watch my man Barry.
What? Oh, no.
You didn't see it on Facebook?
No. Plastic face?
Yeah, Gay's taking her got her tickets to go see Barry Manilow.
Wow.
My boy Barry.
No. Wow. He'll have to sing, of course, Can't Smile Without You.
Yeah, but only during night dives.
But he won't move. But his lips won't move. He's just got that kind of a pursed smile.
It's the plastic. It doesn't move once it dries.
That's it. It's like Joan Rivers. My face! I can't move my face. I can't feel my face.
God.
Oh.
I wouldn't get started with that woman.
Oh, horrible. Okay, so...
I got a little bit of news for you.
Oh, you do? Share.
Terrifying moment for me.
Really?
Yeah.
So what's up?
Okay, just yesterday.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday. Sandy's contract for her phone was up.
Oh, yeah.
So, she had been eyeballing different phones.
Because she's got a BlackBerry now, right?
No, she had an iPhone.
Oh.
She had an iPhone 4.
Well, I figured she would just jump to the 5.
Well, that's what I thought.
Uh-oh.
So she tells me, well, I'll meet you at AT&T. I'm like, not a problem. Great.
Yeah.
Well, she got there a little before I did, and she was eyeballing the Nokia.
Was she really?
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I figured if she was going to jump to anything, it would be an Android.
Well, she was looking at the 4, the Galaxy, what is it, S3 or
S4?
Whatever. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I lose track of the numbers already.
Yeah.
And she was actually like, oh, I like this one. And I go, which one? And she takes me to the loom.
Oh, wow. What color?
Yeah, well, she was just looking at the one that was there.
Oh, okay.
They had a demo out there on the with the wireless charging.
Right.
And she was like, I like it because look, you can just put it down and it charges and it moves so fast. Look how quick it is. And I was literally like, I bit my tongue off. I couldn't talk. And I was like, she goes, I think I want this one. Because she wanted the...
they are very inexpensive right now because they're getting ready to release that super phone.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That thing's got me doing
So she was like, I think I want this one. And then the salesman came to my rescue.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He was just like, oh, you don't want that phone. That phone sucks.
He did not say that.
And she was like, what? She was like, what? And I thought he was joking. I literally thought, like, okay, your job is to sell phones, and you're telling this customer here she's interested in it, but now you're telling her no.
I want to know which one because I'm going to turn him in. I do. I want to know which one because I wouldn't want them to do that for any phone.
Yeah.
Now, I would want them to do an honest comparison of the specs and the user experience. What is and find out from the customer what they wanted, what they expected to do, what they do most on it, and find out which one seems to best fit that desire. You don't just come up and say a phone sucks. That guy needs to be fired.
Well, I was kind of taken back, and Sandy was like, "What?" And that's the first thing I thought. I was like, when he goes, "Well, I'll be right back," and he walked away, and I was telling Sandy, I was like, "It's this guy's job to sell phones." I know he works on commission, and here he is, pretty much telling you don't want that phone. I mean, and then I kind of thought like he's gonna push her towards one of the more expensive phones, like the iPhone and stuff. And he actually pushed her towards a promotion they're having with the Androids.
Of course.
They're trying. I guess that's the thing right now is they're trying to push Androids. And Sandy was like, "No, because I've heard a lot of bad stuff about them."
Right.
And I told the guy, I was like, "Look, I know that they've been hacked. They're having all kinds of issues with those phones. I do have a lot of friends that have them, but I guess they've been lucky." Or maybe they just don't know their phone's been hacked. So, I mean...
little do you know, Big Brother is now watching.
Yeah.
The NSA has got you.
Yeah, so she pretty much goes, no, you know what, I'm going to stick with my original choice. She wanted an iPhone 4S. She didn't want to spend too much money, but she was
how much is the iPhone 5 going for right now?
It's $200.
Oh, really?
It's $199.
Okay.
But the iPhone 4S was $99, and that's why she was looking at the Lumia, because it was also $99.
Well, actually, I'm surprised it was that much because most places I've been seeing the 920 has been going for like $49.
No, it's $99
because the EOS or now the rumor is it's going to be called the Lumia 1020. With the full-blown 41 megapixel PureView camera on it.
41 megapixels.
I'm not like, wow.
You're gonna see hair coming out of your face before it's out of your face.
Exactly. They're gonna see your skin thinking about growing a hair.
There you go. I mean, what more can you ask for? They're gonna be like, oh, you got wrinkles. You better go get that Botox fixed up.
Cruelty.
No, but
wow.
Yeah, the guy was like that. But she did actually slam the guy with the, you know how they do a survey anytime you go in there, they send you that tech survey. She did make comments that his comments about phones and stuff like that were not very welcome because she was there as a customer trying to buy a phone, and he pretty much bashed the one she was looking at.
I really want to know who that guy is because there's a website now where people can go to share their experiences negative of any phone type, but basically where they go into AT&T or Verizon or whatever, and they get that kind of garbage from somebody. I'm like, you know what? Your job is to find out the customer's need and then try to match them with what best serves them. It's just stupid, especially when he clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. He clearly does not know. And that's just ridiculous. I want to know who that is. I know, well, Troy is really good friends with the manager.
Oh, okay.
So I'll share that with him, and he'll probably say, okay, here's our meeting.
Here's our meeting. Who the heck?
Who was this guy? He needs to be fired.
Who said that their phones are...
Yeah. I'm like, crazy.
But, no, so... great experience. Aside from that, she got what she wanted.
That's good.
So
That's
she
good.
found what she wanted. For her, the way she uses her device, it's, in fact, aside from now having the Siri doing the little text where she's driving, she can just narrate her stuff and send it.
Yep.
She's good with it because she doesn't do too much. She uses her phone to listen to music, so it works perfect for her.
Right.
because I had told her, why don't you just get the 5? And she was like, no, that's too much phone for me. I don't need all of that. So I was like,
that's fine. That is perfectly. That's a good way to approach it.
And I respected her decision.
Yeah.
And then my son goes, well, then buy me the 5. You know, so. But
you're not old enough for that kind of power.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see what the new devices are going to come out with.
What new devices?
Well, I'm pretty sure Apple might be rolling out a new phone, or maybe the S or the B or whatever they're going to call the new iPhone.
Have you already updated to the iOS 7?
No, because it's only available as for the developers.
What? I thought they already actually released it.
No, it's not released until the fall.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So
are you going to go for it, or are you going to hold off?
No, for the
iOS 7.
No, I'm going to go for it. Okay. I update. I'm like kind of like you with computers and everything. Anytime there's a new update, I want the latest and greatest.
Speaking of that, Windows 8.1.
What's the story with that? I
love it. I've got these two machines right here on Windows 8.
I know you got a new laptop there.
Yes, the system board bit the dust on my old laptop. I mean, it was working fine at work because I use it at work because we can't get into anything except Facebook on government computers. But if you want to go to actual like tech sites where you can find out information, drivers, solutions for all the weird, goofy stuff that goes on in the Air Force networks, you can't go there because they're blocked. I'm like, you're going to allow everybody in the flippant Air Force to waste time on Facebook, but I can't get to a tech blog to get an answer to a problem that some of our senior bosses here are having. That's way wrong. So anyway, I bring my laptop because I can tether it to my Lumia 920, which doesn't suck, and it works. And it works fine. I actually get a surprisingly good signal in that Faraday cage that we call an office. And so it was working fine. And then I got home, plugged it in. I was gonna be loading some more music on it, and all of a sudden I came up with this error that looked like a hard drive error. I was like, maybe I bounced it, but I'm pretty careful. So I powered it down, powered it back up, came up with an error after I logged in. It came up immediately with an error, but it was a memory error. I'm like, what? Okay, so first one was a hard drive error, sector unreadable or something like that. Then it gave me an error that was clearly a segment of memory. I'm like, what?
Well, I'm amazed it actually came up because most of the time when the boards go out, they don't turn on.
Immediately what I did at that point is I powered it down, and then I pulled one of the two memory sims in there. Because sometimes if they can give you errors that make it look that are interpreted as a hard drive error. So I pulled one of those, and I got... It was some other kind of error that had nothing to do with memory it was like a video segment. I'm like, okay, so this does share this video. The video on here is integrated. It's an NVIDIA circuitry, but it shares some of the memory. So I thought, okay, is it memory or is it Memorex? No, is it memory or
I was about to say that,
or an issue with the video? So I then powered it down, pulled that memory card, put the other one back in, and it gave me the hard drive error again. I'm like, okay. So then I ran it through. I booted up in safe mode with just the command prompt. Ran some of my old tools I used to do back in the DOS days to do the mem check and stuff like that, and it passed. I'm like, what's going on? And then finally it got to a point where it wouldn't even boot up. I mean, it would boot, but then it would try. Then it would come up and say, would you like me to try to recover your boot sector? Or it just tried all sorts of stuff. And finally I was like, okay, I give up. I couldn't win. It was different errors all the time. Couldn't even get far enough up to recover anything.
Well, that usually happens when you throw water on it because you need a new Intera.
Yeah, right. No, I loved it because it was the perfect size screen for me, and I loved the feel of the keys. It had, I could disable the Wi-Fi with a button.
Yeah.
I could disable the touchpad and mouse, because normally I would have a Bluetooth mouse on it. So I could disable this because you hate those accidental hits. I could disable that also with a button. I mean, it was I loved it. It was perfect for me. So I finally I had no choice because I rely on this machine a lot, and also for our church podcast, I use it for that. So we went and found, I picked out this one. It was a really, really good price, and obviously it's more powerful because it's 4 years newer than my previous one, and I love it. It actually does our church podcast pretty well. I'm actually able to at full speed. I mean, I was like, wow, this is pretty powerful. It's more powerful than I thought it was. So I'm getting used to that. But of course, it came with Windows 8. And then last week they released Windows 8.1. So I installed it on here and installed it on the podcasting music workstation as well. And I've only found one flaw in it so far, and it's a preview, so you kind of take your chances with a preview. The problem I've run into is pinning things to the start, because if you'll notice, let me get over to the desktop. I have it up. You'll notice I have nothing on the desktop. Yeah. I abhor the desktop now. I try to do nothing on the desktop, but obviously I have a ton of legacy programs that require the desktop.
Mm-hmm.
They run on the desktop. So I pin everything to my start screen. So it's all there. All of the apps, whether they're a Metro app or website or music studio stuff, it's all pinned there. But if you install something new, typically what it'll do is it'll say, oh, would you like me to put the icons on your desktop, blah, blah, blah. And I normally say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so prior to 8.1, it would throw the icon on the desktop, and then you can right-click on it and say pin to start. And then it'll let you pin it to start. You can name it whatever you want. And so it becomes a new tile on your start. And then I would delete the icon from the desktop, because I have it where I want it now. Yeah. I have you exactly where I want you. Well, now that has stopped working.
Oh.
So you create a shortcut and you try to right-click on it, and it will give you an option, pin to start. But when you do that, you click on it, nothing shows up. It should show up on the unused, undedicated area of your start screen. Nothing. And discovered that certain other programs that create their own icon there on the desktop, some programs, when you try to right-click and say pin to start, it'll come up and give you an error saying there's no application associated with this shortcut.
Oh.
So they clearly have a bug to fix there. And I went on to the Microsoft Answers blogging website, where everybody who has any issues, they bring it there. And a number of people have run into this. So I'm not unique. And I was able to run into, I duplicated that error on both
two different machines, yeah.
So I know it's not a laptop thing or not a desktop thing. So they definitely have to fix that, because I'm sorry, I am not going to leave stuff on the desktop if I can help it.
Maybe that's their way of trying to force you to leave.
Maybe it is, but I don't think they've already alienated enough customers.
Yeah,
already, they don't need to make that worse. But a number of the improvements they've made, I really, really do like. They brought more of the control panel to the Metro side. The Mail app has added more features, and there's more things coming. I mean, now that they've moved up to this version, that opens the door for a lot of other things. You now have 4 tile sizes that you can do. As you see, now they have the super small ones, and then you can also make them twice the size of the standard wide one. So it basically becomes this size. And there's no apps that currently fully take advantage of that. But I could see, and I was like, okay, finally, I think they're getting where the potential is here. People have tons of stuff on their desktop because they want all these things going so they can see what's going on and interface with them. Okay, so what if your live tile feeds you the information you're typically looking for, and you can determine what it's showing you and what size it's showing you? So instead of having 8 million windows cascaded on your desktop. You can have the live tiles that are always cycling through, feeding you information. And if you choose the largest tile size, it can give you a pretty good picture of what you want, the information you need.
Good.
I'm saying, okay, that makes sense. And let's say that you have certain apps that, you know what, I don't need them to be live. So you can make them the smallest icon or the smallest tile, and basically they are kind of an icon because they're very static. They will show you, some of them are still live in a way. They'll show you a little number if there's new messages or whatever. But for the most part, once they shrink to that size, they're almost not live anymore. And that's okay. So you get kind of the best of all the worlds. So I'm like, okay, that was a great choice. Now we just got to see if developers take advantage of that.
I'm pretty sure they will. I mean, if there's supply and demand, I guess sort of say, if somebody's out there that's really what they want, well then go ahead. Kind of like when I saw the keynote for the iOS, from the conference for Apple. A lot of the stuff that they kept referring to was like, you told us, we've listened, we've changed this, so that's the whole point is, if there's a demand for it, they'll definitely create it. So I'm sure if they're doing that, it's for a reason. Somebody probably said, hey, can we do that?
Can we do more with that?
Yeah, can we do more with that? I mean, you're pushing a lot of the customers to use this Metro format. Let's take advantage of it.
Exactly. That's my thing. I never thought that they really realized the full potential of it. And so if you don't even see what you've got when you created it, how are you going to market it? And everybody can pretty much agree Microsoft is horrible at marketing.
Yeah.
They are so weak in that. It's sad that Nokia is eating their lunch when it comes to marketing their own stuff.
But even Dell, most of these other computer companies are, they blow them out of the water when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
They're marketing Windows, but it's that's not
Dell,
it's
the
Dell.
Nokia.
That's not their thing. Their thing is their device. What runs it, they're actually throwing you a bone by telling them, oh, it's running, this.
And by the way, right. Now they more tightly integrated the SkyDrive, so basically your file access, it just kind of rolls the SkyDrive in there. So as a matter of fact, you can actually set it up where by default, that's your location where your documents go and things like that. So that's pretty cool.
Are they going to take advantage of this for the phone?
Yes. Now the Windows Phone 8.1 Blue isn't due out until either the very end of this year or the first part of next year. And it's that point, and I understand why the big delay. It's at that point that the parity of the desktop/tablet systems are going to be really, really close. And that really brings it in close to the Xbox One.
Yeah.
They told folks at the Build conference this week, they said, okay, we're not ready yet with the SDK for the Xbox One, but we're telling you, you need to start developing apps. If you want to do stuff on Xbox, you need to go ahead and start developing those same apps for Windows 8 because there's going to be very little difference between the two. That they really are pushing all of this together because here's the thing. With Xbox One, it's running 3 different operating systems.
Mm-hmm. So
they're like, you can play right to the Windows 8 core of this thing. So that makes sense, but it's not going to reach that nirvana until they do get all 3 of the platforms
together,
closer together.
Well, I think that they're pretty close. When I was in Houston, I went to a Best Buy, and actually that's the first time I ever got a chance to mess with one of those Surface tablets.
Yeah. The Pro or the RT?
Actually, I messed around with both of them.
Oh, good.
They're pretty cool. The guy was awesome enough to let me disconnect it and walk around the store with it. Hey,
that is cool.
The only problem is, I was at the store for maybe an hour and the battery died on me. So
because they leave it connected.
What had happened? It had already developed a memory.
Yep.
So that could be a problem, and I was kind of like, if anything, stay away from the RT. Go with the Pro.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a little heavier. I did notice on the lid thing that I was using.
Cover.
I used both of them for the time being. The one is like at the felt.
Yeah, the touch cover.
Yeah, that horrible.
I like it.
I didn't like it. I like the one with the actually.
You like the tactile. You like the tactile
keys because you can feel that. But I mean, it probably died. The RT version of it lasted a little longer than the Pro.
Yeah,
because it's running a little more juice on it. But I did like that it was running the full version of Office and everything else.
Right.
And you can just, whatever you put on a jump drive, you can put in that thing.
Yeah.
So it works great. I mean,
yeah. The thing that I said all along, the RT is just useless to me. I want something that can replace my laptop.
Yeah.
So it's got to have all the capability of loading legacy as well as Metro stuff. The downside to the Pro, because that's the Pro, the downside is the battery. It's still using the old Core Intel chips, and so it's a hog. Now, at Build, they started showing off all the new, well, not all, but the wide variety of the form factors and some of the new devices coming out, and some of them are showing off the new Haswell chip that's getting like 10 to 12 hours of battery life. I'm like, now we're talking that you get the Intel iCore speed, power, but without the overhead that it just sucked the life out of your battery.
Well, that's how the new MacBook Air has a new Haswell chip in it.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's extending battery life. But then they redid something with the operating system to shut things off that you're not using to conserve battery life. So you get 12 hours of battery life, And
these days, there's just no reason to settle for less than that on any device.
But my question is, we're over here looking around at, developing software and changing hardware to accommodate with an antiquated power system, battery.
Yeah.
Why don't we just put a nuclear chip in that thing and we'll be good to go, run forever.
That's the ticket. That is the ticket.
Just as long as it's not weapons grade, we'll be good.
Right. I've got a weapons grade plutonium tablet here.
When you buy a laptop and it's got that little radioactive sign on it, you're in trouble.
And I thought I was just getting a good gaming machine. I didn't know it was really a radioactive device, baby. No. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, matter of fact, I was seeing something about they're really starting to push even portable systems that are water cooled. I'm like, oh my gosh,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
No.
I'm like, wow, did you pee your pants or is your smartphone leaking?
Well, did you see the new Galaxy that's coming, the Galaxy S4 Active or 3 Active?
The one that's it's like a Terminator or something?
Yeah, you can run over the thing. I'm thinking to myself, there you go. Now finally people are starting to think, why invent a phone? Or why invent a case for a phone that can be water resistant, crush resistant? Why not just build a phone that's water resistant? Yeah. Just already. But I don't know.
Speaking of that, poor Jeff has iPhone, and he got one of those cases that you're supposed to be able to go down to 40 feet or so with it.
Whoa.
And he decided to try it out there at Balmorhea. Let's just say it didn't work.
Do you know what kind of case it was?
And he told me, because I wanted to share that as, real world, and I can't recall what it was. I'll get him to tell me the next time I see him. But it was a funky name like Raven or something like that. I think it started with an R. Raken or something. But I was like, it looked cool because he was showing it off. I was like, now that's pretty awesome. The way it was set up.
It was an actual case that the phone went into.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was like like the OtterBox Armor, the one that I have, or the
something like that, but it's designed for being in the water. In fact, where the screen is, it almost feels like skin because it's flexible.
Oh wow.
It's like pressing somebody's skin. And it's because it's very rubbery. And so but it's able to. It's sensitive to, so it will transmit your touch through it.
Right.
Well, he gets in the water ahead of us to try this out, And then he comes up. He said, "Well, that didn't work." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, there's water in there." He even put a piece of like a paper towel or tissue or something there because he wanted to see if there was any water that got into it. And he said it got soaked. And his first, it wouldn't react to his touch. He tried to do stuff and it would kind of do jumpy things, and then it stopped.
We stopped working.
Yeah, I'm like, ouch! What? That was an expensive experiment.
It was,
I think his was a 4.
Well, they tell you, like, even for the one that I bought, even there's the other case that I believe it's called Life Proof.
Yeah,
is another $100 case that's snow resistant, dirt resistant, water resistant. Of course, they're not meant for scuba diving. They're made for like maybe pool work or in case it falls into a toilet. Type thing.
Nice.
Or rain. In other words, you're talking. Yeah. It's raining.
Purple rain or just regular rain?
Oh, paper rain, I think. Yeah. Well, they're only water resistant to like 6 feet for an X amount of minutes because the membranes will start leaking.
The membranes. Membranes will start leaking. You don't want leaking.
But they all tell you in the instructions, you know what, before you put your device in there, water test it first.
Yes.
They tell you put it in the water, submerge it, and then take it out, see if there's any leaks or anything. Because, of course, there can be flaws during the manufacturing.
Oh, absolutely. So, everybody has a bad day sometime.
Yeah. You know what? They might have been told that, they're going to be furloughed.
Ooh. Ouch. Oh, speaking of building phones that are resistant and the Lumia 920 that doesn't suck, this guy posted on WP Central, or one of them, he said, I am now fully a believer, basically, in the hardiness of the Lumia design. He had his fairly new 920. He bought a brand new case that's it's basically a bike mount where you can mount your, and this one, I guess, was not a generic. It was made specifically for the 920. I guess they have versions for like the iPhone, the 920.
Yeah.
The more popular ones. This one was for the 920, had it mounted, so he's listening to his jams, riding his bike, and then he hit a bump that he didn't see coming up, and it shocked the bike pretty hard. He said the holder, the mount, disintegrated, so he's like, I'm definitely not, I'm going to tell people not to buy this particular bike mount. But he said, and because of the way he hit, I guess it was mounted behind him. He said, I saw my Lumia 920 go flying past me. I'm like, oh no. So he said it flew past me and bounced on the road, and then the first car that was, he said, the bike fell over, I fell over. He said, I got up just in time to see one car just miss it, but the next 4 didn't, and drove over it. He showed pictures of it. He said basically the corner had a little bit of a dent, kind of crushed a little bit in it, and there were some scratches, but not really bad scratches on the screen, and it was still playing his music. He said, I'm a believer. I thought, that's awesome.
I mean, I think a lot of the times most phones are designed nowadays to sustain most falls, some blows. Obviously, they're not designed to be run over.
Yeah.
So, I kind of like the design of Apple, but if it falls, it's going to shatter.
Yeah.
The Lumia has got that
polycarbonate body.
And that thing's going to sustain a blow. The only thing that concerns me, of course, is the glass, but it's Gorilla Glass, so it's not.
Although I hear the Gorilla Glass 3 that's starting to come out in devices, probably going to be in the iPhone 5S or whatever they call it, and probably be in the Lumia 1020 and the next Galaxy, whatever.
Yeah.
I hear that is spectacular and actually has some flex to it, which would be critical because of the way some of those are breaking.
Yeah. They'll shatter from the sides or whatever.
Yeah.
Usually I'll see like a crack from one end and then it jets off to one side. I've seen a lot of those.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what happened? Well, I sat on it, and it flexed and it cracked. Yeah. So
butt dialing is going to go way up.
It is. So I do like the Gorilla Glass.
Yeah.
I think it looks sharp. The color black. I wish the iPhone had that.
I thought it does.
No, it doesn't have that.
The 5S does not have the Gorilla Glass?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you need to check your specs. I'm pretty sure it does.
I don't think so.
Okay. More on that later,
Yeah,
folks.
we'll have to look
I'm
at that.
pretty
I don't
sure there isn't a smartphone out now that doesn't use Gorilla Glass. I could be wrong. Because, yeah, I could be wrong, but I probably am not.
For what I paid for this sucker, it should have.
Yeah, I was going to say, exactly. Oh, and speaking of cases, got my new 3D printed case for my Lumi. I got to show this off.
Cool.
Yeah. This is sweet. I mean, it's not really much protection. It's a little bit for the edges, which is fine. But I just love the design. They had a number of designs you could choose from. They had this Spider-Man kind of spiderweb.
Well, I was going to say that looks like Spider-Man. Looks like,
but no, it's too irregular for that. But and they had one that looked like it was the cutouts were like live tiles and it had "I love Windows Phone" on it. But I was like, no, I want something that's just like strikingly different as far as the design, and it's asymmetrical. And I'm like, okay, I like that one. So I got that. It was, it's real easy it holds it well, easy to put the phone into, and I just really like it. I'm not because the phone looks good and I've got the matte finish. I don't normally have a problem with it slipping out of my hands. The gloss ones, like the red and the white and the yellow, those can kind of get slippery. But this one's got that matte finish, and so it does. I don't have that problem. So I was like, I don't feel a need for a case. But it was so cool, and the fact that it's 3D printed, I was like, I got to get one. So I got it, and I'm happy with it. It's pretty cool. It draws people's attention.
Cool.
So we're actually running over time, as usual. Real quick, your thoughts on the Xbox One?
I'm really glad because I actually posted something on Facebook, or did I tweet it, about that they had changed their mind on the restrictions on the video games, which was great. I think that's an excellent idea. I'm one of these guys that I want to see it, and the first person that I know is going to get it is going to be Dominic.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's going to rip that thing up and shred it and see what it can and can't do. Yeah, exactly. And if anybody, when it comes to video games systems, I kind of take his word because I'm not really a gamer. Yeah, I'm more of a PC gamer.
Yeah, for some reason, that's me. That is me.
Every time I play, I do have a PlayStation 3, but every time I play them, it tends to upset my stomach because of the movement. It's too fast. Yeah. But that's just me. So I prefer the PC gaming. Yeah. Besides, I kind of like sitting on my bed, playing, and it's just easier for me. So I'll wait and see. I kind of like the way the Kinect is going.
That impressed the heck out of me.
The capabilities it's going to have to be able to operate everything. Pretty soon you're going to be able to tell it, go ahead and start soup, and I need lunch.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I walk in, and it's just talk to my house. Tell it to do what I need it to do. TV, say Xbox, Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah, and honestly, I think because I am a techie, I think we're behind the times when it comes to that. We should already be doing that. Agree. We should be able to walk in and say, okay, illuminate or turn lights on. Yes. TV. Tea, Earl Grey, hot. Yeah. TV. That's what I want. And like, glass of water, and it drops something down and start giving a glass of water. I mean, I know the technology's there. Let's get it going already. Get it going, exactly. Thank you. I'm not expecting flying cars, but more fuel economical cars would be great. Yeah. That don't look like a four-wheel moped. Oh yeah, no, that's crazy. It's there. Yeah. Let's make it happen. Yeah. So that's me. But I'm still not out of the jury's gate. Still out. So basically, pretty much it's got your attention, but the jury's they're deliberating out. Still. Yes, so I'll have to wait and see. Right now they're being sequestered. So no kidding. No kidding. There's a lot of that going on. Yeah, lots of weird trials going on. I know. What is up with that? Everywhere I look, somebody's being arrested. Somebody's on trial for murder. Football players going to decide they want to pop a cap at people. I know, you see the stuff they're saying about him, that he's going into jail as a tight end, coming out as a wide receiver. Ouch. This is a family show.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're pretty silly because everybody's even. I mean, I heard that on what was it? It was a TV station that about all the jokes that are coming about this guy Hernandez,
sure.
you know, and the news anchor lady said it, and she goes, "I just thought that was so funny."
Oh no!
But then I had already seen it on Facebook.
And then she gets fired the next day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Right. All right.
No, so what are your thoughts?
I was absolutely, I do not do console gaming. I have tried to do it. It does not hold my attention. I am a PC gamer, period. I can do more, better, faster with it. I can upgrade individual components on my machine if I want to increase the performance and extend the life and play better games. You don't have that with your typical consoles, and so that was not a draw for me. What did draw me was that all of the multimedia capabilities that this is bringing to bear. The question I had that they didn't initially address was with showing off obviously the first reveal we saw, it was all about showing the TV and the gaming.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my home entertainment is a lot of TV. We're either streaming Netflix or we're watching Blu-ray or we're watching actual satellite TV. That was the key. I was like, okay, I need somebody who actually knows to confirm whether or not all of these TV features work if you are not on cable but you have satellite. If it works with satellite, I'm sold on it. And there was confirmation it works with satellite. So I'm like, okay, so now I can do all that stuff and bring up Skype and do all these other things live because it's powerful enough to do it, because it's juxtapositioning its workload between 3 different operating systems to do it, and it's got the power. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. And then what they were showing off that they could do with the Kinect, not just the higher resolution cameras that it's reacting to facial expressions, but the fact that the voice control was so much more mature. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yes. That's the ticket for me. It's just like with the phone. I don't want a phone that has a conversation with me. I want to be able to direct it to do something and it does it, or ask it something and it gives me the answer for it. I don't need a flowery whatever. I don't want HAL 9000. I want the computer from Star Trek. That's what I want in my house. Exactly. I want to walk into my house and say, computer, tea, Earl Grey hot. And it does it.
You don't want to... Yeah, I need tea.
Are you sure you want tea,
sure?
dear? Yeah.
Why? What are you doing, Rob?
I don't need judgment from my house. If you've ever seen Eureka, they had the house had an AI and it was Sarah. And I'm like, oh no, Sarah had way too much attitude for me. I'd be so putting some serious electronic smackdown on that.
You're gonna be like pretty soon like Will Smith and iRobot, where that Vicky's controlling everything.
Yeah, no.
She's like telling the robots, keep them there.
No, no.
HAL 2000.
HAL 9000. So yeah, that's where I'm going. So
why, Rob?
But
why do you want
exactly?
tea?
I feel the greatest enthusiasm for this mission, Dave.
Don't you feel like maybe perhaps you want meatloaf instead of chicken tonight?
I'm trying to cut down on the red meat.
The
AE35 unit is out of alignment.
My statistics show that you've had too much red meat in your blood this week, Rob. I think you need to cut back.
No more mountain lightnings for you.
I can sense your blood pressure rising, right. Robert.
It's because you're giving me back top. I'm not going to take that back top. Yeah.
Well, that's good. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what
Christmas
comes
time
out. Yeah.
Or holidays.
Then the other one too is the PlayStation. I haven't really heard too much about that.
Well, they announced it. Sony announced that first, and so Microsoft had to try and one-up them. But they're just like with the iPhone and the Android, which are solidly the top 2 in smartphones. There are going to be people that absolutely there's just no way in the world that they're going to like the other one. So you're going to have the PS4 folks that there's no way they're going to like the Xbox and vice versa.
But did you I'm not sure if you actually saw the keynote for the PS4? No, for the the Apple.
No.
Did you get to see it?
No, I saw some of the clips afterward because I was checking out some of the iPhone websites to see what they were announcing.
During the keynote, Tim Cook actually talked about, they do the graphs as to like the operating systems and what's hot, what isn't.
Right.
Of course, but Microsoft is actually in third place.
They actually now are solidly third,
Yeah,
and they finally whooped the pants off of BlackBerry.
Oh, you know what?
Oh.
Did you hear what BlackBerry is like? Oh, they're dead in the water. I mean, they're not going to make it.
I was watching one of the business channels this weekend, and they were talking about how, just left and right, they were saying, we thought maybe they had started to turn things around, but this last report that came out, they said there's just no way they can recover. Now, I caution them. I'm happy that Windows Phone is now way down there, but it's still solidly a third, even though it's way behind the other two. But Apple was there. Apple was this close to falling apart, and Steve Jobs literally rescued it from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah.
So it could happen.
Just can't count them out just yet because it was popular with a lot of people back when it first came out. No, but what I was actually going to say, I was actually going to throw some props for the actual the Windows devices.
Yeah.
Because during the comments, Tim Cook actually said that, quote unquote, can't quote him exactly because I don't remember, but he did say that the customer service for the Lumia and the Windows devices was top notch. It's kind of like if you've got a problem, they're on it right away.
I got to give Nokia that,
and that's something that they're hoping for. Yeah. So as far as customer service, it's Microsoft, and then I think it was Apple, and then of course Android is worse because they've got so many platforms out there. They don't know which one to fix.
Oh yeah.
So but that I got to say that for them, which is good job. Yeah. Whoever's doing that.
You're going to excel somewhere. That's a good place to excel.
Hey, you know what? If you got a problem, you call people, and that's actually how I think a lot of people will transfer over. They're like, hey, you know what? I had a problem on my phone, and I had so many problems, just so much trouble just getting answers. I call these people. They fix it right away, and that's a good thing because that's where you start building that trust.
That's true. That's exactly right. Oh, real quick, one of the other features added with Windows 8.1 is in addition to integrating the SkyDrive, they've now gotten rid of entirely the old Messenger. It now is it's all the Skype is all integrated, and in fact, kind of like with the phone, if you get a Skype call, and they actually demoed this at Build, if you get a Skype call while your lock screen is on, it will allow you to go right straight into the Skype call without having to go in and unlock your phone and answer.
Wow, that's cool.
That's kind of like the phone, because if I get a phone call, I don't have to. I've got mine pinned, but if I get a phone call, I don't have to unlock it. I just say answer and swipe.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm like, okay, that's brilliant, because that's a common way that people would be more likely to use their tablets, and it didn't kick into me that jump until today when I used the voice feature, because long before iOS brought this in. I can press and hold my Windows button. I can say text Troy McGonigal, and normally it'll come back and say texting Troy McGonigal. Please say your message, and so I'll say my message, and it very quickly they dramatically improved the Bing search engine for the voice.
Yeah.
So it came lightning back, repeating what I said. I was like, okay. That's kind of almost scary. It's almost finishing my sentence.
There you go. How
9000 is taking over. So, but the twist today was it said texting Troy McGonigal, use phone or Skype. I'm like, I almost lost the window because I would never been asked that before. I'm like, phone. Yeah. So then it sent a regular text message. But now that tells me that they have they have so tightly integrated Skype with everything else and the whole messenger that I could have sent it to him via a Skype message. I'm like, cool. So just neat things, little things that you just kind of
text Troy McGonigal. What for? He's behind you.
That's right. That's right. He's chosen not to listen to you today.
He's standing right next to you, looking at you.
He's wondering why you're texting him when he's right next to you. Exactly. All right. Let's go ahead and hit the administrivia real quick here. So we've got the next Del Rio Dive Club meeting, 18 July 2013 at 7 p.m. at Rudy's Restaurant. And also Balmorhea State Park dive trip scheduled for July 19th through the 21st and August 16th through the 18th. And the next basic open water scuba classes are July 24th through the 28th, August 22nd through the 25th, and September 26th through the 29th. By the way, I've already got 3 slots taken for the July class.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
So if you'd like to check out latest information on the happenings here, the dive happenings here, jump on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Del Rio Dive Club, or you can send a message to Skype via two guys who dive, or go visit our new and improved website, www.delriodiveclub.com. And if you would like to send ScubaBob a message, send an email. He would love to hear from you. Yep. Send it to rsgaza821@yahoo.com. Or you can follow him on the Twitter at rsgaza435. That's 435. He'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. I got to get those voices down.
I'm telling you, it's more fun than you can shake a stick at. But don't shake the stick because the dogs will come after you.
Oh my gosh!
All right, and of course you can follow me on the Twitter. I am pretty prolific. That is a good word. Prolific on the Twitter. You can send it follow me at RobertCFP, or you can send me an email. I love to hear from you folks via the emails. Send it to robert.wade@SetiFox.net, and I promise you, I won't send out anybody to give you any cement shoes. I will respond to your emails personally. Absolutely, without any shadow of a doubt.
There you go. At the Twitter.
At the Twitter. Speaking of voices, I know I don't really get to use any in this, but Tara and I are in the next musical production for the Upstagers. So be on the lookout. We'll probably throw some more information up here on this as well. We're in the next show called Rumors. For those who happen to be Broadway aficionados, you might be familiar with, or not Rumors, Curtains. Coitins. It's Coitins for you. That's why it sparked me.
For you.
Because I like that accent. It's Coitins for you. It's set in like the 50s. So you got the typical gumshoe, and in the actual Broadway play, David Hyde Pierce, who was Fraser's brother, Niles, he played the lead in that, and so Ben Graff has got that role in here, and Tara and I play estranged husband and wife who are the songwriting team for the theatrical company.
Oh, cool!
So it's a murder mystery, and the investigator has to come in and basically lock down the theater while he tries to find out who's murdering off the cast members. And
so I take it that's going to be Culpepper.
No.
Oh.
No. Matter of fact, is he even in the show? I don't even know if he's in the show. But anyway, so Ben Graff plays the investigator, checking everything out.
Cool.
And of course, his character is also a kind of an amateur actor, and so he loves theater, and so he starts interjecting his own ideas. So he's both solving a mystery and trying to solve problems with the show that they're still trying to rehearse, and it's just and hilarity ensues, and people still die.
So are you going to be using your
I
accents?
don't get to use any accents in this.
Oh, godly.
I don't.
I got to tell you guys, if you don't know him, if you don't know Rob, if you've ever been around him, he throws out these voices, and I mean, awesome. If you ever heard Tara, I mean, she's got the British accent down like perfect. But it's awesome to hear him talk.
I have a good time for sure.
Actually, that's the first time I ever heard you use the Boston or the
one of those gangsta types.
Yeah, that's the first time I heard you say that one. Usually,
and I usually pick up this stuff watching other plays or movies that do this. If you've ever seen the movie Johnny Dangerously with Michael Keaton and Joe Piscopo.
Oh, Joe Piscopo.
Joe Piscopo.
Yeah.
My father hung me on a meat hook once. Once. It was a great show.
Yeah.
Very, non-offensive to kids or anything. Mary Lou Henner was in it. She looked great.
Yeah.
And it was a good movie. One of the guys in there, as a matter of fact, he tries to say cuss words, but they're not real cuss words. He says, "You fargan ice holes." He goes, "You kiss your mother with that mouth?" "You fargan bastages." I'm like, that's not even. It's like, oh, watch your language.
That's pretty cool.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, but I think you have your Ireland, your Scotland.
Oh, I love the Irish and I love the Scottish,
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to keep the two separate because, with the Irish, you've got to, it's like far scarring 40 years ago. They got to, you're talking about the Irish, you talk about the Irish Spring, and, oh, that's how I like it too. Everybody's always after me, Lucky Charms. Patrick Fitzgerald and Fitzgerald Patrick, But then you switch over to the Scottish, and then you can go after characters like, Scotty from Star Trek, and actually the guy that's playing him in the new Star Trek series, the movies, his accent's actually much better than Jimmy Doohan.
Well, it's because he's actually is. I think.
Well, but I mean,
Scottish.
Well, but Jimmy Doohan could do it really well. He just didn't do it in the original series.
Yeah.
But I like that one because you got a lot of the brogue, and you get a lot of the trilling of the R's, all of that. Yeah, it's a lot of the stuff that's thrown in the back of the throat.
There you go.
Yeah, I love those.
Say a one-man show, right?
Yeah. And then another one that I get to use every so often is the Russian accent. It's not that difficult for me to find you. I will track you down like the dog that you are. You pig dog. I will know.
Big dog.
You pig dog. I will find you. I will bring you back to Moscow. And I picked those up from watching movies like Reds. Or Red, not Reds, but Red.
Yeah.
And you got, and yet outside that door stands the love of my life. She shot me 3 times in the heart.
There you go. Perfect.
Love that stuff.
Yep.
I have a great time. I have a party going on inside my head 24/7. I could be alone in a room and still have fun. Well, listen, we appreciate you watching the show either live or via the YouTube.
The YouTube.
We like the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate your comments, questions, suggestions. And if you're in the Del Rio area, we'd love to have you sit in on the show. We've got extra room. We can do it. You just sit behind the microphone and chit-chat a little bit, and we will like it. We will have fun. You know. And so,
and again, if you're not a diver, don't be worried.
That's right.
Talk about all kinds of stuff.
As you can tell. Yeah.
You got something or a topic that you'd like to bring on the air. I'm sure Robert and I would be more than glad to entertain you.
Absolutely.
Just bring it on down.
That's it. Bring it down. Bring it down to the store. We'll open the door. We'll keep the light on for you. Oh, wait a minute. That's
the Motel 6.
Motel 6. That's right. I'm Tom Bodette. I'll keep the light on for you.
You know what? But, I guarantee it.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. What happened to Mr. Zimmer? Did you hear about that?
No.
George Zimmer, the guy from the Men's Warehouse?
No.
You're going to like the way you look.
Yeah, that guy. What about it?
Well, he was the founder. He was the CEO and founder of the Men's Warehouse.
Yeah.
The board gave him the boot.
What?
Yeah.
You fired the guy that founded the company.
Yeah, and he's upset. He's like PO'd. I mean, he's upset, and he actually I didn't know this, but he actually started the Men's Warehouse here in Texas.
What?
Yeah, he's from
Get
Texas.
out of town.
Yeah, I did not know that.
And he sounds like he's from up north. You'll like the way you look.
I guarantee.
He sounds like guaranteed.
Yeah, well, he got the boot from his own company.
Wow.
But he is suing, and the reason is because he opposed salary increases for members of the board.
Oh,
so in other words, he stood in the way of their $1.2 million raise.
Oh, good.
And of course, they went ahead and gave him the boot. But he still owns a large percentage of stock in the company.
Wow.
So
amazing.
He's actually going to fight it, and
Good.
I think they're saying, I think I read it in the New York Times, that he is he's actually getting investors to try to do a proxy takeover of his own company.
That is too cool.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. You know what? You build something, don't go down without a fight.
That's right. That is absolutely right. That is awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy news. Happy news. We like that. Well, listen, that pretty much finishes up for tonight. We will see you one way or the other next week for another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive.
Good night.
See ya.